here we are, 5 long years after the fantastic Tremors 2. Someone over at Universal decided it was time to bring back the Tremors franchise for another round of taco shit looking worm guts and shrieker screams. Tremors 3 Back to Perfection was released in 2001, again, straight to video. I didn't even know this was out as a kid. I was just hanging out at my local convenience store, getting Slurpees and shit, when I saw the VHS sitting on the rental wall. You know, back when you still had the option of renting from a 7-Eleven, dodging crackheads and shit. And even as a kid sitting down to watch this for the first time, I thought to myself, wow, this seems off. Now, I'm in no way, shape, or form saying Tremors 3 is a shitty movie, because it's not, but it's definitely a bit of a black sheep. As soon as the movie opens, we get reacquainted with our good friend Burt Gummer once again, and always played by Michael Gross. There will never be a replacement. But this is also where the first problems start to arise. Burt jumps into a mounted machine gun and starts mowing down an army of shriekers, but you can see through them. It's subtle, but these guys are definitely transparent. How? How did they miss that? But for now, let's focus on the positives. Tremors 3 is a serious blast of nostalgia and makes a ton of references to the first two movies. Being back in perfection, with many of the original cast returning, man, it's like coming home after a long trip. Mindy's all grown up, Melvin's still a complete dickweed. Ugh, the memories. There are some new casts this time around, including Chang's niece and a dude named Jack who decided to turn this town's misfortune into a faked graboid safari tour. I can't tell if I like Jack or not. On the one hand,
damn, it's hot out here. Anybody up for an ice cold beer? All right, I got $3 a bottle domestic, $4.50 imported. Also, might I recommend my fresh fruit juices. Got Monster Mango, Graboid Grape, and for $1 extra, you can keep a souvenir glass.
but on the other hand, he's almost as stupid as Grady was from Tremors 2. He's fine, I guess. He kind of comes across as like a discount James Marsden to me, though. But the best part of this movie, and every subsequent movie, is of course Michael Gross's Burt. The dude, he nails it every single time. He never fails to endlessly entertain. I mean, he's playing the same Burt he played in the first movie. He's just amp up the paranoia a bit more this time around. The rest of the movie, though, I don't know, it just feels cheap. There are definitely practical effects in this thing, but the quality has definitely dropped. It doesn't look nearly as convincing as the first two movies did, and this time around, there's a white graboid that they call El Blanco, but every time he shows up on screen, it looks like this. Oh my god. Not only does this look terrible, but it just straight up looks like a big-ass boner. Why? That had to be intentional. No one could have possibly looked at that and not seen a massive gyrating dick. I get it, it's a straight-to-video movie. I know it's low budget. $6 million, in fact. But Tremors 2 was made with $4 million and had both better-looking practical and CGI effects in it, so like, what happened here? The effects were done by ADI, aka Amalgamated Dynamics, who would later go on to do the CGI in Godzilla King of the Monsters and the upcoming Godzilla vs. Kong, so I know they're more than capable. So it must have just been a time thing, I guess? This movie also introduced us to the third evolutionary stage of the graboids, a slimmer, ganglier flying version of a shrieker that uses literal fart explosions to launch itself into the air. The Ass Blaster, as it's dubbed, is actually a pretty cool design. I just wish, again, that they use more practical versions of it rather than this janky looking CGI. It's also too long, with a runtime of 1 hour, 40 minutes, just short of 2 hours long, and it does not need to be that long. It kills the great pacing that the first two movies had. They could have cut out a lot of the talky bits that didn't have Burt and saved themselves at least 20 minutes. And it may sound like I'm shitting on this movie, but I'm really not. There are a ton of great moments in this movie, like when Burt gets swallowed whole by a graboid, and after being cut out of the steaming guts of it, declares in typical Burt fashion,
I prefer we keep this to ourselves.
And I really do like the idea of Burt, probably the one man on Earth who hates graboids more than anyone else, being forced by the government to coexist with El Blanco. And I love when Burt just leaves Melvin stranded on the rock while El Blanco just circles the boulders like, haha, you funny joke. Remember how Edgar in the first movie never got off the radio tower in the first Tremors? Melvin's gonna fucking die. Tremors 3 is still a really entertaining movie, but that's mainly thanks to Michael Gross. Honestly, I think if you left the movie as is but took Burt out of it, this wouldn't be nearly as watchable as it is. None of the other characters really hold their own or are memorable or likable as Val or Earl or even Grady were, and even the cast that did come back, Melvin, Mindy, Miguel, and Nancy, it's not like they were the main selling points of the first movie to begin with. Enjoyable sequel, but just doesn't hold a candle to 1 and 2. You too can support the channel for just $1 a month by joining the Patreon for exclusive videos and content. Links in the description down below. Yes, I'm a shill.